This is the first video in a short series on the types of number. These numbers form something we describe as the real number set, and this number set is one of the basics of mathematics and is something fundamental, and we therefore need to fully understand what we mean by the real number set. But before we go on, I think it's important that we realize that the real number set is one type of reality. There are out there other number sets that mathematicians use. Now we will come back to look at those further in your study of mathematics. So let's start with what is often described as the natural numbers, and sometimes we call them counting numbers. Now natural numbers are the first number set we as humans really grasp. We use them for a particular purpose, and we'll have a look at what that particular purpose is in a moment, and we can see how numbers first started in the history of the human race. Natural numbers start at 1 and count up in 1 as follows. We start with the figure 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, and I'll use these dots here to represent the numbers that would follow. So 5 will be followed by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, etc. Now early settlements didn't have the figures we have today. They would have to represent things that they owned as follows. If I have a look at this image here, which is just a representation of an early settlement, and I count how many cattle are in this particular settlement, we can see here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 members of this particular herd here. Now today we would have no problems representing this. Today we would just write down the figure 5 as so. In early settlements, as I said, they didn't have these figures, so they would scratch things onto a bone or a piece of wood or something, and there would be one scratch for each cattle in a particular herd that they were responsible for or that they owned. Now there are examples of this that have been found. We have got fossils of bones that actually show scratches. Now here is an example of 2 bones that we can see have got scratches on. Just have a look at this region here and you can see there are scratches on the bone, and each scratch would represent an item, albeit a basket of fruit that they may have collected in a particular day or a particular week. One scratch for each basket that they filled up, or one could be for each individual within a herd that they're responsible for looking after. Now one thing these early settlements did not have, they did not have a notion of zero. Why would they want one? What would be the point of thinking about zero? They were only interested in the number of cattle that they had. They didn't have any. Well, they didn't bother. They didn't have any. They didn't bother having a bone with no scratches on. It wasn't necessary. They only needed to have a one-to-one relationship with scratches and the number of cattle that they actually had. The notion of a zero came much later in the development of mathematics, so this was not regarded as important. Now, the word natural, I like to think of it like this. This is the first number set we understood as human beings. It came naturally to us. Consequently, I like to think of that as being our natural number set. And the thing about the natural number set is it does not include zero. And that's the key. When you talk about natural numbers, it doesn't include zero, because it wasn't natural to our ancestors, because they didn't see the purpose of a zero. Come back up here now and we have a look. We can see that the natural numbers start at 1, then they go to 2, and so on in this direction. But you'll note from that sequence of numbers there is no zero, because the natural number set does not include zero.